Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. It's Tim. Just glad to be with you on our journey through the Bible as we consider our reading for the day, Ezekiel chapter 43 to 45. You've probably noticed already that in chapter 40 to 48, Ezekiel is shown a future temple. Now the details of this temple, the precise description, the measurements given make it clear that this is a literal temple. This is not an allegory of the Christian life, but it's actually going to be built. And there's never been a temple like this in past history, which tells us it must be a future temple. It'll be built during the 1,000-year reign of Jesus on this earth. Now, past temples we read about in the Bible were given as a visual illustration of what the future Messiah would be like, and in particular, his atonement for us on the cross. Well, this future temple, likewise, will be a visual reminder of the past work of Christ that took place on the cross in history. It may help to do a little search, maybe on YouTube, on Ezekiel's temple to get a visual representation of what this building would be like. It helped me anyway to actually see what someone's conception of this temple might be based on the description that we have here. You notice that there's some things in this temple that were not in previous temples or in the tabernacle that are emphasized. For example, there's no silver and gold mentioned in this temple. The lampstand that provided the light in the past is not there. The table of showbread is not there. The Ark of the Covenant is not there, or the mercy seat. And there's a reason for that. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But he hears the voice of God in Ezekiel 43 verse 2. And he says it sounds like many waters. In other words, a powerful, massive voice. It's one of the identifiers, by the way, of Jesus in his glory. John sees it in Revelation chapter 1. That's the way he described that voice that Jesus had, like many waters, like a huge waterfall. Well, he's brought to the place where he can see the glory of the Lord coming back into the city and back into the temple. You remember it left in chapter 11, went out of the east gate and outside the city and over the Mount of Olives, and now it's back. It came through the eastern gate in this temple also. One of the interesting things maybe you've noticed is that in the second temple, the one that Zerubbabel built, the Shekinah glory was not there. Why is that? Well, it's because there's one greater than the temple who would walk on those pavement stones, who would walk in that temple itself, and that's Jesus. He's the glory. He's all the glory you need. Well, in this case, Ezekiel is brought into the inner court and sees the glory there. And he hears a voice calling from the inside. There is the voice of God. Now, I mentioned that there's no Ark of the Covenant in this temple. Really, how many different theories have you heard about the Ark of the Covenant and how it was lost and where it is and how they need to bring this back in the new temple that they're building in Jerusalem, and yet it's not even there in Ezekiel's temple? I'll tell you why it's not there. At least I'll give you my opinion. It's because that is going to be the place of our Lord's throne. The Lord himself will be there. It's not an illustration of the Lord, but he will be there in the Holy of Holies. We read in Jeremiah 3:16, "It shall come to pass when ye be multiplied and increased in the land in those days, saith the Lord, that they shall say no more, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, and neither shall it come to mind, and neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore." As far as the Ark of the Covenant, people are going to forget all about it. They're not even going to remember the Ark of the Covenant, and it's not there because there's so much more glory there. The Lord himself sitting on his throne there. We read in Ezekiel 43, verse 7. He said unto me, Son of man, the place of my throne and the place of the soles of my feet, where I will dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever. It's going to be there. It takes the place of the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat. We read about it in Zechariah chapter 6, verse 12 to 13, where Zechariah said, Speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, and that's just another name that's given to the Messiah, he shall grow up out of this place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. Even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory, and he shall sit and rule on his throne. He shall be a priest on his throne. The counsel of peace shall be between them both. Yes, one of these days his throne is going to be there, and I don't think it's going to be all that far in the future. When you compare this temple with the requirements for a Levitical temple in the past, you can see that this one is different. But we'll be able to see it in person one of these days, my friend. And I'm looking forward to that. I hope you are too, as we think about that a little bit today. What would it be like to be there in that temple where the Lord himself is on that throne? Well, keep reading in Ezekiel. Our reading for tomorrow is Ezekiel 46 to 48, and that will conclude our reading in this prophetical book. So dig into it, be there, and I'll join you tomorrow. Looking forward to it.